Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, one of the founders of LSATdemon.com and the weekly podcast Thinking LSAT. With me is Josh Mansfield, a teacher with the Demon and a 1L in law school. We have Maggie writing us saying improvement not happening.
Hi, Josh and Nate. I'm signed up to take the LSAT in February, and I'm aiming for a 173. I wanted to reach out because I feel like I've hit a wall. My diagnostic was a 161. Wow, that's
Really good.
great. Since then, I've put in about 90 hours of study over 5 weeks, approximately 18 hours a week. I've been blind reviewing, attending live classes, and working through a core curriculum from another company. My LR has improved marginally. I've scored as high as -2 on LR untimed sections, but most of my scores haven't improved. I took my first practice test since my diagnostic and got a 160. Here's what I don't understand. How can I put in 90 hours of focused work and not see any improvement?
Well, I mean, I'm really worried about that core curriculum.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good for anybody. I especially don't think it's good for people with a diagnostic score as high as a 161. You know, they're convincing you that the LSAT is full of all kinds of arcane shit, technicalities, diagramming,
Formal logic is what they
logic.
call it.
They're
Yeah.
convincing you that the test is much harder than it actually is. And sometimes we see people actually go down. Oh, wait, you did.
She did. And I was about to ask, Nate, how often do you, I mean, how many, this is not an isolated incident. I've been working for the Demon for about a year, and I know double digits people who've come to me and said, I decreased after I sat and did 90 hours of a core curriculum.
Especially if you start with a real high diagnostic.
Yeah.
Because they don't tell you the truth about the LSAT, which is, yeah, the LSAT makes sense. It's kind of easy. Like they build their businesses on this theory of, oh, the LSAT's really hard and only we have the secret knowledge. We've always done it differently at LSAT Demon. We believe that you can, just through careful reading and common sense, crush the LSAT. That's what we're all about. You know, I'm sure that this core curriculum is like, well, to finish the sections, you know, here's how you need to manage your time. And they give you all kinds of shitty tips, like 85 seconds per question on the LR, or do the first 10 questions in 10 minutes. It's all this timing bullshit.
Jump around in RC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like the reason why you need question types is because you're going to skip the question types that you're the worst at. And you're going to, you know, like all this, like, just weighty, just garbage, you know, it's just like the junk programs that come on the PC that you buy. There's a bunch of shit that's like slowing down what would have been a relatively clean operation for Maggie, who started with a 161 diagnostic. I'm pretty confident, Maggie, that you would be in the 170s with us. It's unfortunate that you've been doing all this other shit with some other company.
Yeah. She says then, how should I stop grinding the core curriculum / live classes?
Yep.
And focus only on PT's blind review, targeted drilling in sections? What's an ideal plan for someone in my situation? I want to come back to the other question in just a second, but then continues, I'm genuinely frustrated. It feels like I could give another month of my free time to this and still not move off my diagnostic score. I want to make sure I'm studying the right way. Thanks for the tough love advice you can offer. Best, Maggie. Maggie, yes, stop with the core curriculum. And I'm a little nervous about the blind review as well. Because
she keeps capitalizing blind review as if that's like a religious thing.
Well, this prep company it is, and it's the style where you do an entire practice test, and then before you check any of your answers, you untimed go back and do the practice test again.
That's a huge waste of time.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be so boring. If you're doing it our way, you'd be like, well, I only did 19 out of the 25 questions, but I feel really good about my answers. You know, you would go back through all 19 of those questions. There would be like one or two of them where you were like, well, yeah, I was close on this one.
But Nate, the point is, and I think the reason they teach this is because they don't want you doing an official or a practice test the way that you drill. you're supposed to be doing the 10 questions in 10 minutes. And so you're not
Ugh.
giving each question consideration. And so once you finish it, then you go back and you do them the right way.
What?
Like that's the problem. Is
Hmm.
and Maggie, that's why when we say the LSAT is easy, it's easy when you're not trying to balance all these competing priorities of strategies and timing that don't work. When you drill a question, you work on it until you solve it. And then once you're done, you move on to the next one. When you're doing a time section, you work on a question until you solve it. And once you're done, you move on to the next one. And when you do a practice test, you work on it until you solve it. And then you move on to the next one. There's no gimmicks. There's no games.
Yeah.
Especially at a 161, there's no reason you need to do any of that.
Yeah. Time's your most valuable resource, Maggie. Our subscriptions are more expensive than this company, but that's because we're better, especially for high scorers. And they're going to sell you a cheap subscription and then try to sell you private tutoring on top of that. We're going to sell you a more expensive subscription, and we're actually not going to push private tutoring on you at all because you don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do your time sections the exact same way that you're doing your one question at a time drilling. You need to stop wasting a bunch of time on things like core curriculum and a really heavy-handed blind review. Instead of all that blind review, the way they do it, just review your mistakes. Learn as much as you can from your mistakes. And that doesn't just mean redo the question knowing you missed it. Oh, I got it right this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Why is the right answer right? Can you explain it? Why is the wrong answer wrong? Can you explain it? Did you feel the click? Those clicks of understanding, and especially for somebody who starts at a 161, Maggie, you're capable of understanding every single question on this test, even the very, very hardest ones. Okay. 180 is in reach for you, Maggie. If you focus on understanding one question at a time instead of all this nonsense that you've been taught you have to do. That's the crazy thing, is that's like when you start that high, it's just like, okay, you get it. You already got it.
Right.
You just need to do some practice. And sure, the ones that you miss, like we can talk about those ones. But instead they're like, oh yeah, no, don't do any practice tests for 3 months or whatever it is, 5 weeks here,
Mm-hmm.
90 hours of study until you did another practice test. And all that did was hurt you and waste your time.
Yeah. She walked on and just started swinging a bat for a AAA team, and they're like, oh yeah, a little bit more work and you could hit the majors. And then they sent her to high school to go play high school ball to learn the fundamentals.
But not even to play ball ever, right?
Right,
like,
right. To
no,
sit in
you
a
need to go
classroom and watch
read
film.
a bunch of theory about baseball.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mag, I want to hit Maggie's last question that I skipped over really quick. She asked about transferring her data over to the Demon. She says that she doesn't understand the explanations well in the other program, but all of her analytics are stored there.
Maggie, the analytics are so wildly overrated.
Yes.
You need to understand one question at a time. If you don't understand their explanations, it's probably because they don't actually understand it themselves.
And the percentage of strength questions that you missed last week it's
No.
not going to solve it for you.
The way you get better at strength questions is not by knowing that you have a deficiency in strength questions and going and practicing a bunch of strength questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just throwing a whole bunch of volume at it. It's understanding one question at a time. Our explanations are better because we work our asses off on those explanations. I mean, why is the Demon more expensive? Well, because we're constantly recording new video explanations. We're constantly revising our written explanations. And we've got a team of like 30 tutors that are behind the ask button. When you ask a thoughtful question to the ask button, our explanations get better as a result of the back and forth that you have with the team of tutors that's there. And that whole process leads to actual understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And actual understanding is how you get from a 161 to a 171, not a bunch of analytics.
Yeah, to that point, Nate, daily I see on the reports people making requests to update explanations. Hey, this answer choice wasn't super clear to the student. We go back and we re-record those explanations. Like they are living documents. They're living explanations that we are constantly improving.
Because it's not possible. It's just not possible to write 10,000 perfect explanations for
Yeah.
10,000 questions. It's not possible. And so nobody has perfect explanations, but we are working our asses off constantly to make our explanations as good as they possibly can. And at the Demon, instead of forcing you through some bullshit curriculum where you study the LSAT in theory, we have you just do real questions and then learn from those questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the explanations have the lessons built right into them. So everything you need to know about strength and questions is in the explanations to the strength and questions. But, Maggie, again, time is your most valuable resource. If you're studying with some cheaper plan, but you don't understand the explanations, then you are burning your most valuable resource, your time. And it's a very inefficient bargain.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be so much better off studying with explanations you understand. I would encourage you at the very least to get a Demon free account. There's a lot there in the Demon free account. There's hundreds of questions that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you drill some questions in the Demon free account, any question you miss, you're going to then go into the explanations and you're going to see this like exhaustive, like, oh, wow, there's 5 videos and a full on written explanation. And then if you're still confused, you can hit the ask button, even with a free account,
Mm-hmm.
and talk to our team of tutors and make sure that you get to that click. And once you get to that click for that one question, it now has helped you on all your strengthening questions, which analytics literally can't.
Yes.
The analytics doesn't teach you shit. You don't
Yep.
understand anything because of the analytics. You understand because you really buy it. Like you feel it where you go, oh yeah, I can see now that the right answer actually answers this question. And that wrong answer doesn't. And I understand that I made both of those mistakes when I missed this question. But it's the explanations that are going to get you there, not the analytics.
And to that point as well, I think that students say, well, the analytics can't hurt, but I think and the reason we don't have students just drill strength and questions, for example, is because it number one, when you know what's coming, you change the way you think. It's basically reading the question first, which we tell you distracts from the argument and strongly discourage you from doing. But I also think I when I have I'm a 1L. I don't have a lot of free time, but when I have a couple free minutes, I like to play chess on my phone. I don't spend a lot of time reviewing my games. I used to, but right now I want to play a couple blitz games and then be good. My rating doesn't move. I don't get any better. That's not why I'm playing chess, right?
You're playing for fun. You're not trying to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you go on and just blitz strengthen questions because it tells you, oh yeah, you're not very good at strengthen, and you just do them again and again and again and again, you're just going to keep making the same mistakes again and again and again and again. Yep. And afterwards you're going to go, oh, I get why it was B, not C. I narrowed it down to 2 anyway, so I did okay. And you're never going to get better at any question typed that way.
Yeah. There's another harm that can come from the analytics, which is just you spend so much time looking at the analytics, thinking about the analytics, worrying about the analytics, that you're just then ignoring the place where the real work gets done. And the real work gets done in one question at a time. I just can't stress that enough. If you understand one more question today that you didn't understand yesterday, then you've made progress. You could spend 5 hours looking at analytics and not make one bit of progress.
Yep. Yeah. Great point.
Invest that time better, Maggie.
Thanks for writing in, Maggie. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.